What we're going to show you today is our entry-level zero-till planter. We do bigger options with more seeding options, seed monitors, higher grade fertilizer distribution systems.
Basically, zero-till planting, we're trying to move away from heavy tillage. Basically, we don't want to turn the soils. When you turn the soils, you're basically killing all the living organisms in your soil, and you're releasing the carbon out of the soil, up to 30-40% carbon when you turn it. So with a zero-till planter, we're keeping residue that will break down into mulch and feed the organisms and create more organisms for your soils. So instead of turning your soils and destroying all that mulch, zero-till planters are the solution to be able to plant through that residue. Here, this was initially, I believe, a silage crop, supposed to be commercial crop. Okay, and it was combined, and the mulch was left on, and some grazing has taken place here. Obviously, the mulch is still here, and that's great. It will go back into the soil. So we're using our entry-level PA planter to plant his next silage crop. If everyone would like to follow me over to the planter. So on the front of the planter, we've got our cutting coulter, which is the whole mechanism is all lined up with the cutting coulter. The pressure used on this to cut through your residue is controlled on the pressure spring. You can adjust that, and there's spaces to increase your depth on the cutting coulter. This plant will plant up to at about 6 k's an hour, and you need that speed and to get that force to break that residue. With zero-till planting, another crucial element is the residue needs to be completely dry. You don't want to pre-irrigate, or if there's been any rain, you've got to delay it, as that residue will now become moist and soft. And a good example that I've been taught is if you've got hard butter, for instance, the butter is your soil, and you put a piece of paper on top of that hard butter. If you get a bank card and you try and cut through that paper and the butter's hard, it's going to go straight through. If that butter's soft, now for instance that soil's had some moisture on it, and you try and break through that paper is going to be pushed into the soil. That's the sort of thing we're trying to get at. That residue is going to be pushed into that soil if there's moisture in the ground. So it's crucial that the residue is dry. And then on the front of the planter we have our fert boxes. Polyethylene, they're very durable. The fert system, there's a mechanical carrier rotor with a millimetric adjustment, and that's initiated by a worm screw. The whole planter is mechanically driven off the drive wheel. Our drive wheel doesn't run off the rear press wheel. Having it on the main trailed wheel, you get a lot more traction. Your wheel often slips if it's driven off the rear press wheel. In zero-till conditions, the fert will go on through the tine. If everyone can see here, the tine will sort of furrow your soil and put your fert below where the seed's going to be placed. This planter can be used in conventional conditions. The tine will be swapped out for these mismatched discs behind where the seed goes. That'll be the same principle in the front if you want to plant into normal conventional conditions with this planter. Moving back from that, we get to the seed bins, also polyethylene. So this is not a complete zero-till planter as such. It is zero-till if some residue management is done. For instance, some cattle grazed a bit of this maize mashanga left over. And for instance, if you were wanting to plant into wheat stover, if some of that wheat had been baled, this would also work in those conditions, no problem. Some residue management needs to have been done. It won't go into very thick, hard trash. The seeding plates come for maize, soyas, sorghum, and different sizes for different maize. Obviously we get a lot of different seeds. You get your small round, big flat. From there it comes down into your mismatched discs. One is a 14-inch, one is a 13-inch, to give you that offset V placement for your seed. On those mismatched, we've got a depth control for your pressure on the seed. These are your depth control wheels, which is also adjustable, which we had to adjust after we set the planter. It's, from what I've seen now, it's at that sort of 5 centimeter mark that we were hoping to get. And following that, we've got the press wheel, which ensures your seed to soil contact, and this is also adjustable on 4 different settings. Yeah, obviously you've got your accessory platform for easy supply of ferts and seed. Yeah, and then again, everything is driven off the drive with a bunch of different sprockets to adjust seeding and fert rates.